Hello everybody, welcome back to a special breaking news edition of the Red and White Roundup. We've got some huge news coming out of Wayside today. Sunderland are closing in on a deal to sign that man Granit Xhaka from Bayer Leverkusen. According to transfer insider Fabrizio Romano, a deal worth around £18 million has now been agreed between Sunderland and Bayern Munich. Xhaka is expected to fly into the UK for a medical and to finalise his personal terms on a 2-year contract running until 2027. The Swiss international made it clear last week that he was more than ready to make the move to the Premier League, and after days of negotiations, Sunderland have upped their offer, which Bayer Leverkusen have now accepted. Romano posted on social media, "Granit Xhaka to Sunderland, here we go." So now we're waiting on the final stages to be completed, but this looks all but done. However, Sunderland fans might have a little bit of PTSD from the Armand Loriente transfer. So, of course, until you see that scarf picture, it isn't done. But all signs look very positive when it comes to this Granit Xhaka deal. You know, what does this mean for Sunderland? It's a serious statement of intent. The club have been aggressive in the transfer market already, signing Diarra, Adingra, Talbi, Lefay, bringing in Ronaldo on a free. Xhaka at 18 million quid pushes Sunderland's spending this summer to beyond 120 million. And I think a wider point as well, this deal also breaks the mould for Sunderland, who rarely invest in players aged 30 or over, really. The previous preference was free transfers. Think Corey Evans, Alex Pritchard, Alan Browne. But this Xhaka move shows that they're taking Premier League survival more seriously. And let's face it, Granit Xhaka could be worth his weight in gold if he helps Sunderland survive in the Premier League. Let's talk about Xhaka's experience. He brings unmatched pedigree to the Stadium of Light in terms of the composition of their squad. He made 225 Premier League appearances for Arsenal. He scored 17 goals. He also helped Leverkusen to the Bundesliga title. He's played in the Europa League final. He's won the Cup in Germany as well. 137 caps for Switzerland. And he's captained his country on multiple occasions. 14 international goals. He's played the Champions League, Europa League knockout rounds. And he's finished 16th in the 2024 Ballon d'Or voting. That's the calibre of player Sunderland are about to secure. The 16th best player in the world is coming to Sunderland. Some clubs might scoff at that, but when you've been in League One, that's quite significant. As I say, the deal isn't over the line until the fat lady sings. We saw that with the Claps Loriente move, but all signs are pointing towards getting this done. One consequence that likely spells the end for Alan Browne and Nectar Triantis in terms of their midfield hopes. They both might leave on loan or permanently before the window shuts. And it does cast a little bit of a doubt over Dan Neil's future as well. Xhaka's arrival would leave Sunderland with 6 midfielders, including the new signings Dan Neil and Chris Rigg. I personally think 6 into 3 when it comes to a Premier League season does work, because you're going to need rest, rotation, injuries, form, all of that sort of stuff. So I'm very hesitant to write Dan Neil off, but this does add a layer of competition and experience to the Black Cats midfield that is going to provide, deep competition for these players. They're going to have to up the game. I would back Dan Neil to do that, but, I think it's brilliant. Dan Neil's 23, Chris Rigg is 18, and they're going to get to learn from the likes of Granit Xhaka. Dan Neil, if he signs his contract at Sunderland and stays at the club, of course, you have to add that caveat. But I think this just lifts the whole place and the whole atmosphere at the Stadium of Light, and particularly welcome after that pre-season performance against Hearts, where Sunderland's midfield did get overrun at times. This comes as a huge boost. Please hit that like button, subscribe for more Sunderland updates, and let me know in the comments, is this the signing that keeps Sunderland in the Premier League? Thanks for watching.